We need to start by looking at the default infrastructure for most WordPress and Drupal agencies, the Standalone Virtual Private Server. It is a simple setup to deploy, but that simplicity introduces a structural flaw. You are relying on a single point of failure. When an unexpected traffic spike hits, the server's compute resources max out, and the entire application goes offline. Getting the site back online requires human intervention. Someone has to notice the outage, log into the server environment, and manually restart the crashed applications. Meanwhile, the site is completely inaccessible to visitors. Relying on this setup forces development teams to accept routine downtime and reactive troubleshooting as the unavoidable cost of keeping infrastructure simple. The architectural opposite of that fragile server is Kubernetes. It brings enterprise-level capabilities to the table, specifically self-healing and autoscaling. Looking at this diagram of a cluster structure, self-healing means the system continuously monitors its own health. If a WordPress or Drupal container crashes, Kubernetes detects the failure and instantly provisions a fresh, identical replacement without any human intervention. The cluster also handles horizontal scaling automatically. As a wave of incoming traffic hits, the system generates new pods, which are small, isolated application environments, behind a load balancer to safely absorb the spike. But setting up a Kubernetes cluster manually is notoriously difficult. It requires deep knowledge of Linux and networking to configure the control plane, establish security policies, and write complex YAML manifests. YAML is a data serialization language used to manually write out system configurations. That complexity translates directly into high operational costs. Maintaining a manual Kubernetes environment requires specialized DevOps engineers, which routinely cost teams thousands of dollars a month just to keep the system running. The industry has essentially forced a choice. You can either rely on simple, fragile standalone servers or pay the steep financial and operational price for a manual Kubernetes cluster. DevPanel is an automated orchestration layer built to break that exact compromise, giving you the power of Kubernetes with the simplicity of a basic server. This diagram illustrates how DevPanel works. You connect your existing AWS, Azure, or DigitalOcean account, and the platform automatically provisions a complete Kubernetes cluster directly inside your own cloud environment. The entire setup takes about 30 minutes. You do not need any specialized DevOps expertise, and you never have to write a single line of YAML code. By deploying a single node cluster, you get the minimal compute footprint of a standard standalone server while retaining the full enterprise-grade orchestration of a massive Kubernetes environment. By abstracting away setup and configuration, agencies tap into Kubernetes resilience without the steep learning curve or expensive labor costs. WordPress and Drupal are naturally difficult to run on distributed systems. They rely heavily on persistent file storage and stateful databases, which can easily break when spread across multiple containers. DevPanel is engineered to handle those exact stateful complexities right out of the box, requiring zero manual configuration from your team. This workflow model shows the system synchronizing persistent file storage across multiple pods simultaneously, preventing race conditions. The architecture also manages distributed database connections, coordinating scheduled background tasks across all active instances without duplicating effort. Because the foundation is true Kubernetes, this single-node setup is future-proof. When your traffic grows, the cluster can easily scale horizontally to multiple nodes with zero need to redesign the application. DevPanel takes historically complex, stateful CMS deployments and turns them into predictable, auto-healing systems that any developer can manage. Beyond infrastructure, DevPanel automates the software development lifecycle through CI/CD pipelines. CI/CD stands for Continuous Integration and Continuous Deployment, an automated method of frequently testing and delivering code changes to your applications. As shown here, pushing new code to a Git branch automatically generates an isolated, ephemeral preview environment. QA teams use these temporary staging environments to thoroughly test new features before safely merging the validated code to production. The platform also includes a built-in browser-based VS Code IDE. An IDE is an integrated development environment where developers write and debug code. This allows teams to work from any device, completely bypassing the need for complex local setup. Providing a complete, automated development workflow reduces deployment errors, catches bugs early in the process, and significantly speeds up new team member onboarding. Looking at ongoing maintenance, DevPanel reduces the operational labor required for teams from over 20 hours a month down to just 2 to 5 hours. And the pricing model is highly unusual. DevPanel itself is a zero-cost platform. You only pay your cloud provider directly for the compute, storage, and bandwidth you actually use. This scale visualization proves the underlying math. Because a single-node Kubernetes cluster requires the same basic compute resources as a standalone server, the underlying cloud provider fees are exactly the same, yet the Kubernetes side delivers drastically more capability. There is also no vendor lock-in. Because everything is built inside your own cloud account, you retain total administrative control of your infrastructure, even if you decide to disconnect from DevPanel entirely. Agencies and freelancers can finally offer managed hosting tier reliability to their clients while capturing 100% of their hosting margin. You no longer have to compromise between simple servers that break under pressure and complex manual clusters that drain your budget. Deploying a single-node Kubernetes cluster via DevPanel is now the objectively superior baseline for modern WordPress and Drupal hosting. Stop wasting time and margin on manual server management. Connect your cloud account and deploy your first